This is DJ LSD, and you're listening to Love the Beat Radio, best station in the world.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
The radio station in the world is right here, right now. The coolest station online. Yeah, that's us. Because we play this.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Goddess Jazzy Show. I don't know what's wrong with my voice. I don't know what's happened. I've got a bit of a croaky voice, so bear with me. Anyway, I hope everyone's fine and everything else. I'm expecting my guest, my first guest. He's shortly on his way. Is this doubling up? Anyway, yeah. So he's on his way, and my other one is on his way too. So before they come, I'm not going to be playing no music today. We're going to have some serious conversation on father's rights is the first topic, and then the second topic is a surprise. So I hope you can hear me well. If you can, you know, I don't know what's happened to my voice, but oh, 1 second, hold on. Hello, come in. You in? Great, come up. Sorry for my voice, I don't know what's happened to it. Hi, hello, hi. I'm alright, how are you? Come. We get hugs, everyone gets a hug.
Yeah.
Nice to see
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Thank you, come in.
Very warm welcome.
Yeah, every guest gets it, right? You know? Come and have a seat. Just on live. My boss will be coming because the computer screen's gone down. Don't know what's going on. So, I'm going to put you on live here as well. So come close. You can make yourself more comfortable on that. And it's Farouk.
Farouk, yes.
Farouk, yeah? Okay, let's get outside. How did you find it? There's a thing underneath that can...
Can it go down?
Yeah. Push it,
Well,
yeah.
that's it. I'm worried I'm going to fall off.
Oh, there you go. Let's see if I can see you. Maybe I have to go like
Right, let me go across here.
Yeah, that's better, isn't it? Hold on, hold on. Hold on, peeps. Okay, good. Cool. Okay, can see you, yeah. Great.
Get in there, let's get in
there, yeah.
Let's have some of that.
Welcome everybody. Welcome. My guest this morning, his name is Farouk. Welcome, Farouk.
Hi,
Have I said your name right?
Yeah, Farouk, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay, where's that name from?
Muslim
Muslim?
background. Yeah, I'm Muslim, so I'm a Muslim background, so yeah, hence my name's Farouk, yes.
Okay,
Arab, yeah.
Farouk. Okay, nice to meet you. Thank you so much
Nice
for
to
coming in,
meet you, dude.
Farouk. Honestly.
That's okay.
So let's start. How was the march? Tell us about the
march was good,
Yeah.
as in, I'll tell you what happened, right?
Yes, please.
We done something quite cheeky, yeah?
Did you?
Because there was a teachers' march on the same day.
Oh no.
Which funny enough, yeah, they had loads, thousands, but not one bit made the news. That night I watched the news, none of that was on the news, yeah. But what we did, right, we didn't have the turnout that we expected, but but with the fathers movement is typical, right?
Yes.
So what we did though, when we bumped into the teachers' march, we played it smart. So all of our guys got in the front of the teachers' march with all of our banners. So when we did all the live recording, people around the world, people in America thinking it's a major march, yeah?
Yeah.
But it was just a handful of us ultimately.
Okay,
But we
and you
hijacked
just
the
hijacked
ticket.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
good on you,
hijacked
good
it.
thinking.
And two of the guys went to the front of the march with the banners all the way, right? So all the press that they had, it looked like these two guys at the front, you know, parental alienation, standing for fathers, and a massive crowd at the back. Yeah,
well
so
done.
we pulled a fast one. But,
well done.
but the march in itself was good, and there was two people at the march.
Okay.
See, I don't know how much you're aware, but there was one chap called Ian Briggs and a lady called Judith. Now, they're both into their 60s.
Oh.
They both lost sons to the child maintenance services.
When you say lost, as in suicide?
Yeah,
Oh,
suicide
God,
because of the harassment and pressure.
Yeah.
Now, when I was talking to them, you know when you're talking to someone who suffered a loss like that, now their sons were grown men with their own kids. They got grandkids, these people.
Gosh,
yeah. And they've lost their sons. And when you think about, like, what did they lose them to? It was harassment by a government corporation. So when I sat there, talked to them,
Yeah.
to try and just digest that information, even
Yes.
for me, I found it very uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and that's why the march was important. But look, we had about 30 to 40, maybe even 50 people sort of turn up.
Okay, that's good.
So it's still a
Yeah.
good turnout. And when we went inside Parliament, what they said is, now I've
Oh, you
never
went
been.
inside?
Yeah, we went
Oh.
inside, right? Now I've never been to a march or none of this.
Yeah.
I don't really understand how the mechanics of the government work. I was one of them people that think that none of these things ever work. Who
Yes.
cares? Like, do you know, I was one of them,
Yeah.
until this was important, until I've lost my own kids, unfortunately, right? So
How old are your children, if you don't mind me
my
asking?
children, they are now 9, 7 and 4. When I last saw them, they were 8, 6 and 3. So it's been a while now. Yeah, it's been a while now.
Yeah.
But until you suffer a loss like that yourself, and that's when you come out your comfort zone and think, you know what, this is important enough to me.
Yeah.
Hence I had to turn up. But with the fathers movement, there should have been more. More fathers should have
Okay.
come out.
Do you think the advertising wasn't so well, or where was it advertised?
I think, yeah,
You know?
I think it's been advertised for, obviously, on social media mainly, mainly all over social media platforms, and there's loads of groups and fathers that have been posting it and putting it
Yeah.
out. Maybe we could have done more, but it's quite historic with the fathers movement that everyone leaves it for someone else.
I know.
You know how it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Listen, everyone leaves it for someone else, and this is the difference, and this is the problem with the fathers movement as a whole. Yeah, no one takes it seriously, including the fathers themselves.
Yeah.
So if the fathers don't take it seriously themselves,
How's everyone else gonna,
as a government and all the other parties that are sort of fighting against it, going to take it seriously. Do you know what I mean? So, but look, ultimately it was good. We were in Parliament, and even you
How was it
understand,
going inside there?
it was an experience because I've never been inside. And considering we're living in England my whole life, you know, you never go to these
To these
places.
places, yeah.
You never do these things. You go somewhere else in another country, but in your own
You
country, you
never
don't
got
see
your
these
own
things.
one, yeah.
So to go through the whole thing, you know, and I was in my orange suit because of disqualified dads. When I do my podcast, I wear an orange uniform, right? Because it's to represent I'm a prisoner. I'm a prisoner of the family court system. And there's a certain place they used to send prisoners from here as well, where they had no human rights and they could torture them. That's how you are in a family court system. You got no rights. So I wear that orange suit.
Yeah. I'm coming on your podcast. I'm going to
you gotta come on,
come on there,
yeah. Do this.
100%.
So I went in with the orange suit in it. So what the guy said was I held up the whole queue, so they had to search me and made me take it off.
Oh,
and all the guys saying, "Look, you look like you're in prison. You're getting incarcerated." As I'm walking in. So they took me in. We got in. I had to take the t-shirt off, any symbols, anything. But once we got in, what they said is, when 40, 50 people turn up to Parliament, with the reports, and we had the intellects with us, who wrote the reports and all that sort of stuff, Sister Sally from Split the Difference, they're clever people, man. They're the ones that know all of this, So they had the reports. So we went in there. You write a little slip out, and you call out your MP. So again, most of them didn't come out, or they sent their assistant, or they said they're not on site, basically. But if 40, 50, 60 people turn up, you're allowed to go in. You're allowed to properly book this and go in, and you call out your MP. That's when they get shook up a little bit, like hold on.
So that's the key now. So that
you got to rock up, I think
we have to spread this hard then.
We have to, and the point is, look, we have to come out, even though we don't believe in these things and marching and protests, and people think they're all hippies or whatever. Listen. If you don't do it for your kids, you gotta do it for. And there's two people that, like I said, they know there's this government system, government corporation, a private corporation supported by government that has so many powers. They're making though we're living in a free society, they've turned us into modern slaves. The CMS have powers. And it's a private company. People don't realise the powers they have.
Imagine.
Until it affects you directly. This is what I say to people. Not just you, but I worry about the youngsters now coming up. Do you know what I'm saying? And people don't realise the implications. Look, you get with look, everyone's going to get into a relationship at some point or other, This is what people don't realise. As a society, any society, you're going to be involved in a relationship. You may be involved in having a kid at some point. The powers and the system that's built around that model of a family or a couple or a relationship, it is built that when this goes wrong, the whole system is designed to use that kid as a pawn and to drive money out of both couples. And
so let me ask you, if your name isn't on the birth certificate, do you still pay child maintenance for the child?
I'm going to tell you from the top of my head, yeah, I'm not 100%, but if your name's not on the certificate, birth certificate, then you can get away with not having parental responsibility.
This is my guest farouk. Yeah, it's coming to because the screen is.
Did you get there?
Yes, please.
Yeah, sorry. Let me get that.
I dragged him out of bed. Sorry. How are you, sir? You good? So, but on the top of your head, you think you shouldn't?
I don't think you do. If you're not on the certificate.
If you're not on the certificate, no.
If you're not on the certificate, I don't believe you do, because you don't have parental responsibility.
None. Yeah.
Yeah, because they check when you call the CMS. They check straight away. Is your name on the birth certificate? What's your national insurance number? Because if your name's not on the birth certificate, you ain't got then what is called parental responsibility.
Okay.
But I'd have to double check
Yeah,
that.
yes, please.
I'll double check that.
Yeah. Oh, can you?
Oh, you know, go on.
Can you? Oh, God.
Good, just in time.
Yeah, just good in time, man.
What's the question?
The question is, if your name's not on the birth certificate, do you still have to pay child maintenance?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, listen, mate, I hear stuff about child every day.
Providing that there's a, what's it called?
Like
A DNA test.
Yeah,
a
but
DNA
Yeah,
test?
if a DNA test has been done,
Yeah.
then you have to pay child maintenance.
And if
Yeah,
a DNA
if
test hasn't
you're
been
not.
done,
Yeah, then you don't have
then you
to.
don't pay.
But then what they'll do is that they will, what's it called, do a DNA test for you, and then you have to have, what's it called, pay for that DNA test as well to be done.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So-
Yeah, so that will make sense. They will force, because the CMS will force the DNA test, because if you are, they will make sure you pay. And also, if you live with a stepchild and that relationship breaks, you pay for that stepchild as well, by the way. People don't know that.
Better listen to that.
Yeah,
Really?
there's a laws
So if
around it.
you, let's just say, a boy and a girl, they got, the guy has got a stepdaughter,
Yeah.
he has to pay for her.
If you've lived so many years with her.
lived, okay.
No, if you've lived with her for so many years,
Yeah.
so let's say you've lived, from what I understand, 2, 3, 4 years with that stepchild, yeah, in that household, yeah, and then the relationship breaks up.
My
They can
God.
chase you for CMS for that stepchild as well.
Gee whiz,
Yeah,
man.
listen, there's a
tell
very
you.
the laws around that are very murky.
And the
People don't
thing
realise.
is, a lot of people don't know this, and a lot of
Exactly.
guys don't know this either. You know, a lot of families don't know
No,
this.
but the whole family court system, you got to understand, yeah, it operates in secret. The whole
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing is set up. So the family court, CAFCAS, CMS, they work hand in hand. CAFCAS are the court social workers, but the whole system work hand in hand, and the whole system work on secrecy. That's why it's the best scam. The scams that run the longest are the ones no one talk about, no one knows about.
Yeah, yeah.
Family court know this. They've studied the architects that have designed the family court. They've studied full-on human behaviour. So they've incentivized one gender
Yeah.
on purpose. Why? Why is it not like legal aid is only available on domestic abuse allegations
Yeah.
for one gender? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And cross communities and culture, that gender has reacted the same way. They start using their kids. So that wasn't an accident. And then when these court orders are given, you can't tell no one, you can't talk to no one about it.
Yeah, yeah.
It has to be kept secret. If you tell someone, you could get taken away, put in prison. And
What?
Yeah, listen. If you get caught like contempt of court, whatever it is, if you talk about the court order, so they serve you a molestation order, for example. Yeah?
Molestation.
Yeah, a
What?
restraining order. Yeah, listen, it's murky. The world of family
this
court
is
is so
crazy.
murky.
But I can't understand why there's not enough information for people to know this.
Why? I tell you why.
Farouk, you're going to have to keep coming on
Yeah,
to be
I'm
spreading
gonna-
it. Honestly, I mean it.
I'm
Because
definitely
a lot of young
exposing
people,
this.
especially young fathers, don't know.
No, not even
their
old
rights.
fathers. Look, I
know?
was 41 and I didn't know this.
Wow.
This is what I'm trying to say. Now, everyone knows the law is biased, right? Look, in any Western country, everyone knows the law is biased.
Yeah.
But you still have this delusion that we're in England. This is a first world country.
Yeah.
We got laws. So what they think is, regardless of the system is biased, when I get there, they're going to listen to some logic and reason and evidence.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah.
But when you get into family court, no evidence required.
What?
Everything is done. So if you make, say, and this is how it is in family court, let's say you make 10 allegations against me, yeah?
Yeah.
In the criminal court, they will look for evidence.
Yes.
They will outweigh all the physical evidence to decide before someone's guilty, yeah? That's the criminal court. In the family court, you made 10 allegations against me, right? As we're in a relationship, you made 10 allegations against me. Let's say I have physically, with evidence, disproved 9.5 allegations. And let's say half an allegation, I say, yeah, there was an argument, we did have a dispute, but nothing happened. They're going to say, well, based on the fact that you're a man, on the balance of probability, though you've disproved 9.5 allegations, and we know that you know this person is obviously prone to not telling the truth at times, we still find you guilty on that half an allegation. Hence, you can't see your kid. It's just ridiculous.
Oh my God, this paper really went through me when you just said that.
It is madness.
Oh
People have no
gosh.
idea. I know guys, right? Yeah. And this guy, he's been on a podcast and he's said this openly, and his case is well known now, yeah? So when the case wasn't going in his missus' direction, what they did was they started coming out with rape allegations.
Oh, Jesus.
So he disproved them. And unfortunately, some women are going to the extreme of, then when the rape allegations don't work and the case still going the father's way, then they start saying, oh, he was touching the children, inappropriate and all of this. So then what happened with this guy, his kids at the time, I think they were 8 years old, like they're young kids, they're small, 7 and 8 and whatnot, yeah? So he's like, I'm not having this, I'm going to fight this in the morning, because just wake up thinking I'm going to fight this. By the evening, because I just sit there and think, listen, I'm still their dad. They're talking about doing checks and stuff on the children. So he goes, I'm still their dad, I have to protect them, I can't put them through that, regardless of the other party that has no care or concern.
This is how women get hurt this bad to behave like this.
This is, but this pattern, cross community, cross culture, the behaviour's been the same. So the family courts know this, and the legal aid lawyers, and unfortunately some of these women's aid groups and whatnot. Yeah. The more people they get through the door, the more funding they get from government. Yeah. Someone even told me, don't quote me on this, but that women's aid now have nearly 9 million in the bank. They can claim, I think, $1 million or maybe even $2 million a year from the government.
Jesus, Father, man.
Tell me about it. Love for the children. Forget the love for the father.
Yeah, just,
look,
you know.
I'm not even here for the fathers. Forget the fathers. No one cares about the fathers,
just the kids, man. Why is
what
so
about
difficult?
the kids? The kids are getting damaged in the process. And like I said, the behaviour pattern is they are willing to go, like, unfortunately, one gender is prepared, the resident parent. And look, the facts of this, 90% of the resident parent in the UK are mothers. Yeah. 10% are fathers. So you got to understand, 90% of men are non-resident parents. That is the pattern in the family court. As an accepted culture, sort of across Western countries, that father is not going to be present in their life. The leverage and power has been handed to one. So we're not asking for power, just some sort of sensible approach, right? You know what I mean? But the power has been given to one party, and they get encouraged to use this power to its full capacity, because once you claim...
I think the government likes separation.
No, they love it.
They like that separation. I don't think they want to see together.
I'll go one step further, because once you enter this, you start thinking about things more. You think about society, life, how I got here, and you wonder even more, how can a person be sitting here like this, so hurt, not seeing their own kid,
And grandparents as well.
And when you lose contact with one parent, you've lost contact. That child has lost contact with half of their family completely.
Everything.
Now, if you look at marriage, cross-cultures community is a big business. To get married, it costs money. To get divorced, it costs even more. Then to fight to see your kids, it costs even more money. It's a lifetime of work and earning that they can potentially fleece out of you. And the system is designed as well fully. And the problem is this, look, even with the family court, when you go to a lawyer to see your kids, a lawyer, barrister, they're all in on it. They know they're making money. They know you've got no chance, nothing's going to happen, but they keep you on edge. And this, I'll say this for people watching, if you find yourself in this situation where you've lost contact with your kids and you've had allegations placed against you, and then what happens? You get anxiety, you panic, you don't know what's going to happen. You go to a lawyer. When you're in that state of fight and flight, you go to a lawyer. They fleece you. They're going to think, they're looking at you thinking, we get 25, 30 grand out of this geezer. Do not go to lawyers or barristers. You can do it yourself. The family court processes are set and they're not that complicated. Okay.
And is it set out in layman's terms so anyone can understand it?
Yeah, layman's terms. Basically, look, I had no idea of family court and how it works, So, are we good to go?
Oh, yeah.
That's a music. I meant to start dancing or whatnot. No, in layman's terms, look, don't go to a lawyer barrister because they're going to rob you. They're there to rob you as well. They're in on it.
That's what I was looking for the other day. They're so desperate.
They're in on it. So you know when you're that desperate, what they do is, so when you go to a lawyer, they feed that desperation more with a little bit of hope. So when you walk away, so look, imagine I give you a price for something, and I say, look, we need at least £10,000 up front. You're going to think like, what, Jesus, like, what's going on? But now when you're desperate, and you think, well, I'll see my kids, I'll see my grandkids. You'll go home, you'll panic, and think, well, look, maybe I can get a loan. It's only 10 grand.
all that
I'll see my kids.
through,
I'll see my grandkids. It's only 10 bags. What's the big deal? You start, it get you like that, and they keep you like that. Because once you then hand 10 over, they know, look, the outcome is going to be the outcome right there. They can't influence the outcome effectively, yeah?
Yeah.
So what happens is when you then go to court, you go for your first hearing, second hearing, and if there's allegations of abuse, like I said, this could go back and forth for ages. Then they say to you, oh, we need to fight these allegations, so we need to go to a fact find, 2-3 days. And like I said, if she's on legal aid, yeah, their lawyers are making money, your lawyers are making money, the judges are on 2 grand a day. The Kafkas, they're all making money, yeah?
And it's a good thing Kafkas turned me down, because I was so desperate, I contacted them.
Right, okay.
But they turned me down. They said, you're not in the...
Okay, that means no allegations were made.
Yeah.
So you
but
don't...
I didn't understand it. I just thought, I said to my son, oh, that's not working. I was trying every little thing.
No, good. See, this is, you see, yeah, so you see what you... Okay, this is the situation you're in. So you find yourself in this situation, and you've realised getting this information is so difficult, right? That's what I found.
Yeah.
Hence, I started my channel, yeah? And I'm doing podcasts with fathers where we talk about the whole
Tell
process
them
of the
your
system.
channel, so people can
Disqualified Dads. My channel is Disqualified Dads. The logo is here. This
No,
one
where's
here.
my shirt for Farouk? You just came with yourself like this.
I'm gonna bring. I'll send you the shirt. It's in the post. I'll send you guys one. Disqualified Dads. Follow the channel.
Wow.
We're on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and
Yes.
I'm laying all this out in layman's terms.
Okay, good,
And
yeah.
I'm laying all the traps out of who's scamming you, where they scam you, what to look out for, what not to look out for, how to survive,
Yeah.
how to get through those horrible months where, unfortunately, a lot of men, every man has contemplated suicide in those first 6 to 8 months where you lose contact.
100%.
And with the problem is when those, and the other problem is this, right? Yeah, when you get allegations placed against you, right? So when you're a man and you get allegations of domestic abuse, you just think people start looking at you funny. And when it's a woman saying it and she looks weak, like, you know, she looks fragile, and from my community, I'm not even like, women are generally, you know, they're not as tough as other women from community, like they're fragile. They look, Asian women look fragile in most places. And now add to that, they're crying. Add to that, she's got a scarf on. Do you know what I'm saying?
God,
and she's crying, and you think, oh, poor weak woman. What? How horrible is the husband? If he's going to the gym, he's not working. No one's gonna believe you. Listen, and unfortunately,
It's terrible, man. I did not know the depth of this at all.
Mate,
I did not know the depth.
But the key is this, so think about this, neither did I. Again, I believe the system's biased, but it's alright, we're going to go there, there's law and
Do this,
order.
do that,
We're in
yeah.
England, this is a first world country, man, they've got
Gosh.
laws here. And then you enter it, and then you see the absolute map. Listen, I'll take my chances, I'm making a statement right here, yeah? I would rather take my chances in my home country, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Africa, any Middle Eastern country. I'd take my chance in the family court there than here.
Yeah.
Any Western country, you've got no chance because the system overall. Look, is it a coincidence that America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, England, I think Europe, or Western Europe, same issues all around the family court, fathers struggling and fighting and paying to see their kids. And I think, and once the system has got you, the CMS is a separate entity.
And what does CMS stand for?
Child Maintenance Services.
Oh, the child maintenance.
So,
Okay.
so let me try and sort of put this in a bit more uniform, right? So the child maintenance services have no direct dealings with the family court. They'll say they've got nothing to do with the family court. They're only there for collection of money for the children.
And
Yeah.
that's it.
Yes, but check this. But check what their rules state. Yeah. The less contact the non-resident parent has, which is 90% of fathers, less contact father has, say, the more he pays. So what is that? The more he pays to mother. So what does that encourage? You told me. How can that be written? Yeah.
Especially when the mother's money hungry as well.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'll go
That's
one
another
step.
conversation.
No, but
really.
I'll go one step further. Even if the mother ain't money hungry, you've incentivized her to be like that, ain't you? Mum, if he has overnight stay once a week, you're gonna lose 200 quid. Now, even if she's someone reasonable, you're gonna think, well, listen, times are hard, man. 200 quid, 200 quid. I've got bills to pay. Plus, I'm raising this kid. You're right. He shouldn't see his kids. And then add to the whole family court side. Did you ever have an argument? Yeah, we disagreed about the wallpaper once 10 years ago. Oh, no, but this is the law now. But that's coercive control. Miss so-and-so, are you sure? Because that's coercively controlling you. Anything and everything is labelled as coercive control. People don't understand It is so scary, the laws in place. And this is what I'm saying. I am genuinely worried for these teenagers coming up now.
Coming up
They
and
have
being
no
parents and
idea.
everything else, yeah.
They have no idea.
Jesus, Father, man.
But this is what I'm saying. I've created my platform to expose all of this. So
Okay.
let's say before you have a kid, my argument is this, right? Yeah, I think about it sometimes. And I think, is this my fault? Why am I here? How did this happen? So I can blame the system. I can blame everything: society, system, my community, culture, this, that. But I think before I had a kid, yeah. Now, when you have a child, it is the, how can I put it? That's the biggest asset you're going to have in your lifetime. So biggest emotional, you got to understand,
Everything,
your happiness is tied to that kid. Your
Yes.
misery is tied to that child. Your whole, that child is part of your life. It becomes your life to a certain degree as a parent, yeah? But you've never contemplate that, how that can be taken. What rights do you have? So my point is this, why didn't I ever look into the system to the depths that I have now? Why did it take for this to happen now?
Because you never had that in your mind.
I agree. No, I agree. But let's think about that for a second. Why didn't I have that in my... If you had some money now, yeah, that you need to protect, your biggest asset, say you had, I don't know, some serious amount of gold. You had some gold bars, yeah?
Yeah.
You're going to protect that. You're going to look after that. You'll know the law.
Yeah.
You'll have safekeeping.
But you just don't think when you have a child.
Because
or
it's
children, you
your
just don't
child.
think,
Because as
you
a
know?
human being,
Yeah.
you understand, as a human being, you never assume someone can take something that's part of you away.
Yeah.
People don't understand the depth of this. You can never contemplate that. But this is what I'm putting out there. People need to contemplate that.
Yeah.
This is the biggest asset you're going to have. Beyond money, the legacy that you're going to live on this planet when you go, yeah? You need to know your rights and what you have. We need to know about this. We need to know what powers and rights we have as a parent. And in any Western country, father's rights in the Children's Act has been abolished. Father has no rights in this country. So
It's been abolished.
the Children's Act specifically, father's rights have been abolished. Father has no immediate rights. Your child just has a right to have spend time with both parents. But as a father specifically, you have no rights.
no.
Mum has automatic rights. A father has no rights in this country. Now I wonder who wrote that law. How did it come about? We're talking about, you understand? We're talking when we think England, yeah. People are thinking this country rule 3/4 of the world and whatnot.
Yeah.
They
freedom
got
of speech, freedom of this and that.
they got rules and processes and procedures for everything. You know, this facade of democracy. It's an illusion. When you go into the family court, and you understand what people don't realize, family court affects everything. It affects society as a whole. So when a child comes from a broken home, we know the statistics. We know it all.
Yeah.
So why is there a system specifically encouraging and rewarding this and breaking family homes?
Yeah.
Why is there a whole system built around this acrimony and to convince one person they're victims? Or make these abuses for others to get people on the higher. So look, these barrister lawyers, they're not from down here as such.
No.
That money's going up top. So they're taking money out of the working class, average people, lifetimes of earning, and taking it up. Because I think there's an element of we keep these communities down here broken, keep the working class broken, then you've got your slaves in it to carry on working. They don't live the best life. There must be some agenda, there is something behind it. Look, because when you go to the court, the obstacles that are placed to see the amount of obstacles that are placed, and on every obstacle and hurdle, you part with money, big money. Do you think that's an accident? So listen, there's a hell of a lot we need to dissect on this whole thing.
Definitely so.
And I am, like I said, eventually I am gonna hopefully, because the information is not freely available, so hopefully going forward I'm gonna start making more content. I'm making content regularly, almost daily, but I'm gonna be making more content on what's the molestation on. And like I said, I'm talking layman's terms, because when you go to even like say Mackenzie friends, so these are guys that just help support you in court for a fraction of the cost of solicitors. Even some of them you can't fully trust. My point is this, first rule number one, when you enter this, trust no one. Trust no one's advice. Go get advice of 10 different people, gauge it. Speak to people that have self-represented and gone through it themselves, because they can tell you, they can give you in person, self-representation, they can give you advice on what to do and how to do. There are fathers groups specifically that you join, and they just advise you through all the stages and process. You ask for just, look guys, I've got a first hearing, what do I do? They'll say, look, just turn up. They'll even ask you your name and then send you home, so don't worry about it. So whereas before you'd go to a lawyer, they'd charge you $5,000 with a barrister, you're going for your first hearing. Hi sir, are you so and so? You're here to challenge so and so? Yes. Okay, go home. You just lost $5,000. Your solicitor ain't going to tell you that. Oh, you need a bat. Yeah, they tell
Man.
you. They're out to
You know
rip
what?
you.
You really saved me because the last solicitor I spoke to, it was 10 grand.
Don't go to solicitor.
Yeah,
First and
it's
foremost,
too
you don't
bad.
need a solicitor. After the show, we'll
Yeah.
talk. I'll hook you up,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you what to do.
Well, we're
you don't need
giving,
none of them.
this weekend a try and see what happens. If it's the same way, then we have to go that way.
No, I'll tell you which way to
Yeah.
go, but don't use a solicitor. You don't need a
Okay.
solicitor. He cannot make any. You just lose 10 grand for nothing. Do it again, there.
Oh,
Yes,
you
no.
want me to move here, Ed?
No, that's all we
Yeah.
find.
Wow.
Mate, there's a hell of a lot.
Because, but you know, when you're desperate as well, you will just go to
Right.
Google and this and
No,
that.
you can Google.
You
Do all that. Do all the
Yeah,
research.
yeah.
But when you're desperate and you go to a solicitor,
Yeah.
they know that feeling. They roll you in.
Yeah, because the way she was talking and you've got to do this, that will cost that. And in my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to get this together. And I'm thinking at the end, I'll be able to at least see that.
See my kid, that's what you're
The
thinking.
thing is though, yeah, that you say that there's, I've been through it myself, and I know exactly
Yeah.
what you need to do. You don't need a solicitor.
Yeah.
So excuse me. As you said, in the criminal law, it's all about evidence.
Yes.
So what I always do is, anytime I have my children, I write down the dates and times of when I have my children. Yeah, I take photos to make sure that it collaborates with the date and times that you have your children. So when you do
So
go
even
to
a
court,
day out with them, you do all that, you
Everything.
process all that. Oh.
because when you go to court and they turn around and the mother turns around and says, you shouldn't have the children because you're unstable, you're this, you're that, blah blah blah, but not to say, okay, cool. Well, because if I'm that's that much of an unstable person, why did I have them on all these dates?
So you got access, yeah.
Yeah,
You
but
got access.
I get when things are not her way.
She starts playing up.
Oh, you can't see the children.
Yeah, so you're on unstable ground. So this is
Yeah.
the other problem. This is the other problem with that sort of access, yeah. Is she's effectively constantly trying to keep you on a certain type of leash. They've got you. And this is the problem. And what happens is when you got, because the problem is it's not like a one-off event. He's fighting that every week.
Yeah.
And eventually what happens with fathers is they get to a point they think, you know what,
Can't be
it
bothered
just
as
ain't,
well.
it just
Yeah.
is not, in order to not have to deal with this human being, it's just not worth it. You know what, it's on your head,
Yeah.
what happens to these kids. And that's where a lot of
Yeah.
fathers just walk away, because
Yes.
he might have contact now. If she has a wobbly saying
Yeah.
3-4 weeks, you're not seeing them.
Come on,
Now there's
yeah.
guys now, what happens in a lot of cases, right? Like this case specifically, right? So let's say the example you just gave, yeah? They might see the kid, so say you saw him this week. Then suddenly she starts playing up 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. And when you're, because you think I'm going to see them next week,
Yeah,
you're aching.
Yeah.
So broken contact is more mentally, emotionally damaging than clean break. Like, do you see what I'm saying? That's why guys, they get on that roller coaster. You're up, you're down. Oh, you're going to see them this week, you're not. And that just hurts. You're torturing yourself.
Yeah. Mentally,
And with some of these, unfortunately, women, right, yeah, what in a few cases what's happened is where guys have said, you know what, keep them, don't worry about it, not interested, I've got my new woman now. Then, like, and they start with photos of them on holiday, having a good time. She's like, no, you need to take the kids.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to play them at their own game.
That's the thing. But
You got to do it like that.
But I always say is always make sure you keep
Okay.
a record
Yeah,
because,
yes.
like I said, it's about evidence.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we, you know, we
And
need to go to
videos as
court.
well, yeah. Keep
Because
videos.
most times when you go to court and you provide that evidence to say that I want to have an order like 50-50 contact or you know whatever or not, the court's going to favour because they can see your active
Yes,
role,
yes.
your active
Okay.
role
Yes.
in the children's life.
Yeah.
Now, you know, when another says, oh, but you do this, you're unstable, you're this, hold on. How can you prove that? Because if I was such an unstable person, you wouldn't let me have the kids all these
All
times.
these times, yeah.
Yes,
That's what I'm saying.
no, you're right. You got to keep a record, and
Yeah,
also
that's
another thing I'll
what it
say is keep videos of conversations with your kids. So like kids, so to show them that they're happy
Yeah,
with you. Keep
yeah.
those videos
Yeah.
and ask your kids. So listen, how do you like? You know, when you were
Like
daddy, do you
something.
enjoy it?
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that.
You
Have
lot
them
giving
on.
me thing for this weekend.
Have
now,
evidence as much as you have records, evidence, pictures, anything. And if the kid comes to you, right, and let's say they got a bruise or something, yeah, this is where it gets murky, yeah, because even social services they're funny, right? When you send the kid back, oh, he didn't have that bruise before, all these sort of things. So when he comes to you and you notice a mark or anything, take a picture, record, log it,
Yeah.
everything.
All the time.
Yeah, you got to,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Even up until now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you
Yeah.
got to listen. It's a very murky until the ex gets to a point where she says, you know what, look, shit
So
happens.
fair.
Move on with your life. I move on with my life. It's about the kid until she gets to that place of maturity. But unfortunately, a lot of cases, it drags on for years, and people don't realize once you have a kid, you are tied to that person potentially
Yeah.
for the rest of
Yeah.
your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And what I say to sisters, and when I say sisters, I mean the women, and there are sisters. I say to the sisters, look, don't hold on to that poison. Just let it go, and you can be happy as well.
Yeah.
It's destroying
and
you
it's
inside as
healthy
well.
for the children around as well.
But they could find happiness. You can move on. You can find happiness yourself. Do you know what I mean? You can live a fulfilled life. Do not tie yourself to that one person. Just hold on. It's not. Yeah. You're not doing yourself any favors, I think.
Well, I'm going to shoot, but
oh, Ed,
I'll
thank
follow you on Instagram.
Yeah. Thanks,
Oh,
Ed. Thanks so much.
That's it.
Thank you, lovey. Oh, wow, that's interesting info. So I'm going to carry that this week.
Yes, so listen, ask me anything about the system and I'll tell you as much as I know. I'll go for it, and afterwards I'll tell you what to do, when to do. But
just
do
in
not,
case it doesn't.
but do not, listen, do not pay a solicitor a pound, because once we go to a solicitor, we are encouraging the system to continue.
Okay.
Like, for example, look, I knew a guy that was on a fact find, So a fact find hearing is he had so many allegations placed against him, The solicitor's judge says we have to do what you call is a fact find hearing. They go on for 3 or 4 days. Now this fact find cost this fella near enough 8 to 10,000 pound, no problem, right? He thought, right, once I prove myself with evidence that I have, at least I'll walk away and I'll be said that I'll be innocent and we can move on with the kids. So this fact find went around for 3 days. He paid 10 grand. And we're talking allegations like, let me tell you the sort of madness it is, and it's all out on the podcast, So one allegation was, he showed the judge, like, look judge, she's sending me abusive text messages, like she's sending messages, threatening, swearing and all this, right? So do you know what the counter claim from his missus was and their team? No, judge, because he's unpredictable, he took her phone and he wrote those messages to himself. So then, right, this is the madness. Judge is like, oh really? He was like, okay. But the geezer said, judge, that's impossible because there's the dates these messages were sent and there's my ticket. I was out of the country.
Gosh.
He disproved it to that level. This is the sort of madness. So he disproved that. So that clearly shows that this person is capable of lying, Doesn't matter. But and soon as you start disproving mother, as soon as mum starts looking like a lie, judge will start brushing it under the carpet till they find something that they can make it stick. You got to understand, the judge's preset position, as per the UN Convention of 2010 and 2011, the Istanbul Convention of women and girls being victims, judge's preset position is mum is the victim no matter what. That could be there with broken bones. He is, and in order for mum to be a victim, the perpetrator has to be father no matter what. That is preset position. This is written in, so the judge will skirt and try and get away from anything that shows mum in a bad light. He will brush it under the carpet. They will use these tactics to find any little thing to stick on Dad. And Dad says, we had a disagreement once about the colour of the wall, something trivial that happens in any normal relationship, Judge will look at that and say, yes, based on that alone, I know you disprove rape allegations. I know you disprove allegations of misappropriate behaviour with your children. I know you disprove allegations of abuse and physical. You could disprove 100 allegations. But you disagree to once, that means you are abusive, you're coercive control. This is the level of madness. I'm so
shocked. Honest to God, I'm so shocked. I didn't know the depth of this.
Neither did I, and I'm telling you, people don't realise it is hiding in plain sight, the family court madness. They're handing out these molestation orders like sweets. They're handing them out.
You're right, because when the woman was asking me, has your son ever... she didn't say the word hit, but she used it. And I said, no, what are you talking about? There's nothing like that's happened, She said, okay, that's all right. And then she's telling me that's £2,000. She's breaking down me. I said, man, in my head I'm thinking, I've got to get this money because that means...
No, you don't need to. You're going to get through this. And even if you need help and support, this is what I say to people. Get a good Mackenzie friend. Vet him. Check. It's called a Mackenzie friend. Now, Mackenzie friend... he might be a lawyer or so, he might be legally trained, but they're not necessarily. They're people who know the system, who come and help you, they sit with you, they can't talk on your behalf, but they tell you in your ear, they're watching everything that's going on, and they'll advise you, they'll tell you what to say, they help you with your statements and the documentation. But I would say vet them, find a good one, because even there's some of them there that have looked into this and thought, it's a good way of making money. Because look, this industry, you understand, this industry, it generates money out of nothing. And this is the other thing, you understand? To generate money out of human relationships. That's what it does. Think about this.
But we're not really free when you think about it. Since we signed that birth certificate, we are slaves. We're not free anyway.
We're slaves to this system. They've got us by litigation. So in the family court, when they've got you, the CMS, right? Let's talk about child maintenance services again, We'll talk about being free, once the CMS have got you in their clasp, yeah, this child maintenance services, which is an independent contractor to the government, right?
And it's always been like that.
No, it used to be the CSA up to 2010,
CSA, yeah.
and then because they came under a lot of criticism, because again more suicides and just the
And these things you don't hear about.
badly run, and you know, but back then, you know, the whole deadbeat dads and all this.
Yeah.
You understand? Look, media conditioning, right? Yeah. So the news, media, everything you've seen on TV for the last 40 years have been conditioned to create this society. So men automatically believe this is an accepted position. Men know they're not going to be with their kids. This is an accepted life. One parent can, and this has all been we are conditioned to believe. Women are specifically victims. Women have known what's going on, because feminism has now reached. The feminists have reached positions of power. They're in they're into positions of power, into every part of the fabric of society. Yeah, you can understand. They're in positions of power. So this gender war is now playing out in politics. So when I say it's a gender war, this ain't even a gender, it's a massacre. It's a massacre.
Speechless badly.
Oh, listen.
Normally I ain't speechless, but I'm proper speechless now.
Yeah, so let's carry on with the CMS, so just get the information out there, right? So to make sure everyone's aware.
Yeah, please.
So CMS then base a calculation, right? CMS have more powers than HMRC, firstly. Let me tell you that, yeah? So that's some serious power. Secondly, CMS firstly, so once they first get hold of you, they base the calculation of CMS that you pay for your child on your earnings pre-tax. Now, everyone in England knows we pay 30, 35%, 40% tax, right, yeah? If you had a normal 30, 35 grand, you know you ain't taking that home. Everyone knows this. The government, HMRC knows it. Everyone knows this, yeah? They know how much tax you pay. And CMS have access to all HMRC documents, so they know what you earn, what you pay, everything, yeah? So they know clearly that if you earn 30,000, for argument's sake, you only take home 21 maybe after tax. They know this. But their calculations on 30. So they're saying you owe us this much because that's what you earn. I don't really earn that. I only really take home this much. This is all I can afford. We don't care.
God,
then right, CMS, like I said, they are criminal because we just assume it's a government corporation.
Sort of care.
But they, like I said, it is almost like something out of movies. They have, and the people that have unfortunately taken their lives, and it's up to 1,000 men a year additionally are dying because of child maintenance. 3 men a day because of child maintenance services. Excuse me.
Sorry.
So what's happening is, exactly, I didn't know this. Don't get me wrong. 10 men a day post-separation are dying of suicide because of the family court, separation from their children, and the exposure to the family courts alone, post-separation, So that's that, they're dying there. But 3 additional because of the child maintenance services, Now let's talk child maintenance services again. So these men are dying because child maintenance services have power where they can force you to sell your house. Previously they had powers, they didn't have the powers, but they could take you to a court in front of a judge and revoke your passport and driving license to say, this man's not paying, judge, we need him, we put him on electronic tag. Like you treat like a criminal. Fathers are treated like criminals. The law only seems to be for the law abiding. You can't do nothing about the real crime, but they harass law abiding fathers, Now, the CMS have powers of them. Recently, they passed a bill undercover in Parliament, They've snuck it in undercover, no one even knows about it, where they don't even need to take you in front of a judge now. In their office, their administrator can decide, right, take his passport, take his license, give that man a tag. This is what I'm saying.
To get this out,
put that man in prison. They had this much power, and this is why we need to stand against it, because this is modern slavery. And if some kid, 18, 19, who has a kid tomorrow, we're all going to be in a relationship. So I say to the women out there who think this is good, because a lot of women get behind this. Those women have sons. Your son will be exposed to the same system tomorrow. Your nephew, and will they be strong enough to survive it? Men are dying. It's a massacre.
I can't believe that the suicide is that high.
It's that high, but think about this. So CMS have those powers, and what they're doing is when they latch onto a good paying parent, and we're not talking about guys that are not paying parents. I'm talking about. They, like one guy I interviewed, he's been paying for 16 years for his kids. When he phoned him up and said, oh, listen, it's nearly coming to end, what's the situation? Oh, yeah, we've looked into it, we made a mistake on our end, you still owe us 9 grand. He was like, hold on, what for? Then they went back and forth for 6 months arguing it, then they came back, no, it's 20 grand actually. Then they slapped him with £27,000 of arrears, false arrears, false debts. So the guy that was there at the march, Ian Briggs, his son Gavin, who unfortunately took his own life, they left him with £100 a month or £50, something stupid to live off, right? That sort of money to live off, yeah. And they were threatening him and hounding him to take his house away and all this stuff, and it just got too much.
He just took his life.
And because they said to him, "You earn more than what you're saying," he was, "I don't." He showed them documents, evidence. CMS have also been, when they've been on deduction of earnings, where they take the pay from you directly and give it to your partner.
Yeah.
They take it from you, but they don't give it to the partner. They create acrimony. Because then when the missus gets angry, she makes more allegations, as into CMS saying he's not paying, blah, blah, blah. They create drama, and then they can slap the father with false arrears. Because it's a private corporation, they're only interested in profit. They do not care about your kids. They do not care in broken society. This is a major corporation, big company. I'll tell you which company it is, I won't mention their name.
Yeah.
But you know when you watch the news and you see those, you see these big high profile cases and the prisoner, the sweatbox, they call it, in prison terms it's called a sweatbox, yeah? Where that prison van comes.
Oh, yeah.
That van, that company on that van, they run the prisons.
I know which
They
one.
run the CMS. They do the money, yeah? So think about it. So when you go prison for not paying CMS, they claim money for having you in their prison from the government. It's a scam. Listen,
It's like a
it's a
circle.
Listen,
like, you know.
listen. This idea, like I said, this illusion of democracy. You know, we look at. I'm guilty. Look like back home this goes on. Backhanders. Man,
Yeah.
This is done this is done professionally. These guys are professionals.
God.
They taught these countries that, listen, this was imported behaviour. They taught these other countries this stuff. They're doing it here, they're the masters here, and we don't live in no democracy here. When you look at how this operates here, in plain sight, now, like I said, the two people I spoke to that day, they lost their kids, man, to these harassment and bullying from these
These
organisations.
people don't even care. They
That
don't
is
even care.
ruthless. False. It'll only change when we come up. So when the next event happens,
now,
we have to show up in numbers.
So since you said that, now we have to really make this more.
We
public
got to, and not just that. I'll send you all the reports and
Yeah.
stuff. You got to send it to your MP. The reports. I'll
Okay.
send it to you. The letter.
Alright, yeah.
Fill in the details. Your details and that. All the stuff written on
Yeah.
there. I'll get you the report. You send them.
Send it to the MP,
Reach
okay.
out to split the difference. Sister Sally, they're the intellects. They're putting a lot of reports and stuff there. They need volunteers all the time.
Okay.
But look, I'll get you all the reports. You
Yeah.
lobby your MP. Because
Okay.
until the MPs come under pressure, like if we look at legitly, how does this work? They have to come under pressure. We have to keep challenging this.
Yeah.
Because like I said, the powers the
Jesus.
CMS have and the lives they claim.
And again, you don't hear about it. You don't hear about the men's suicide.
It doesn't make any mainstream media or news. No one cares. But let me put it this way. Fine, it's accepted. No one cares about fathers. No one cares about men. But what about the children?
Yeah.
These children, the guy that died, he had children. Those children are going to grow up without their father. A father who was provided. He was a paying parent.
Then look. My God.
The stuff that's going on out there, CMS have a lot of power. And remember this, they're hiding in plain sight. And the behaviour is encouraged. The less father sees, the more he pays.
God, yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
That's the truth.
And
Yeah.
once you enter, if you're on PAYE, you enter the system, they've got you. So if a kid now CMS get hold of a kid now, 18, 19, 20,
Yeah.
he's locked in for 20 years, his whole life. And look, if it was a legit organisation where, okay, you pay a reasonable amount that you can afford and it was equal and fair and you can manage it, no problem. People want to pay for their kids, not an issue. But when they're going to come after you with false arrears, force you to sell your home, threaten you, and they call you even, the old CSA apparently, they used to ring you on Saturday morning to scare you with threats of bailiffs and stuff like that. So it ruins your weekend, you get on edge. And then you think, oh, I'll just pay them. So we're talking like criminal gangs. So when we're talking about crime, this is legit white collar crime, legit crime done openly. So what happens to these fathers is that when the CMS come after you, when you've got an organisation that big and that powerful, has all the mechanisms of the law they can activate and operate to dismantle you, so they can take your home, license, passport, put you in prison, put you on electronic tag, and how are you gonna fight that? How's your average man thinks? He thinks, what's the point? Add to that, if you're going through the family court system at the same time, you're not seeing your children, then you start thinking, what's the point? If this is when the feeling, and what happens with a lot of people as well is this. It's that feeling of injustice. You know when when injustice has been. Look, if you look at all the sort of uprisings in the last 400 years, say, though people were oppressed. Let's talk about another subject then,
Yeah.
let's look at Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the uprising from slavery itself, yeah? Why? What gave those people strength? It's the injustice. It's the injustice is what drives people to stand up. They can't. It's a feeling of injustice that pushes people. And when you're fighting a monster like this here, and it's done legitly, that feeling of injustice, it swallows you up inside, and that's when they think, I can't fight. There's no point carrying on.
Yeah, my son felt like that. Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It is horrible.
Wow.
And that's why we got to stand. That's why I'm here. That's why we got to stand up. And on the next event, we have to turn up. And this is what I say to people: do not wait till your son gets caught out. It's too late then.
Yeah.
You sit and wait and let it happen. Do not find out about the system once you've lost your kids. Learn the family court system, and we got to expose this whole system.
Definitely.
No, you got to remember the family courts. Why do you think they allow no cameras, no jury, no scrutiny? You cannot question anything. And the horror stories that I've seen and heard in the courts, right? Yeah. You'd be shocked, like the madness, the absolute madness that goes on.
Oh wow. Look, I'm just gonna play a song.
Yeah, do your
just
thing.
to give you a little break here, because the news will come on in 10 minutes.
No worries. It's all
Take
good.
your time.
Yeah.
Just do this 1 second. So people, you heard this, and wow, I'm proper speechless today. Proper. Even with a sore throat, I'm speechless because so much things that I'm remembering that this young man went through, and yeah. Let me just sorry. Just gonna, oh dear, is it on here? Just play something just to.
Bit of music, bit of love. That's it.
Yeah,
Spread
just
the love.
if you want to use the toilet, it's just straight down there, you know.
No, I'm good.
You
I'm
right?
good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Just gonna
good.
play a song. It's gonna be a little bit hot in here as well. So.
Yeah. No. Let's play a song. Have a little breather.
Okay, just gonna play this. Don't think about this. When it gets hot, I get very lightheaded. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so bear with me. Okay. Alright, take a few moments. I'm just gonna,
Yeah.
let me just get a bit of a Sorry, just put that on there. Yeah, and you're gonna do some what do you call it? Documents that.
Yeah. I'm going to carry on
please.
making content around all the subject, layman's terms, like I said,
Yes,
just
make it
normal,
simple,
average
yeah.
Joe street terms, nothing fancy. Because when I was looking for information, you go
go
around,
over your head.
you go around in circles, and people talking about this order and that order and court terms and section 7 and this 7 and calf counts. You think, what the hell is all this like? You know what I mean? When you decipher it, so that's when you think, I'll go to a lawyer, give him $5,000. Yeah, that's when they have you.
Well, yeah.
But when you really go for it, it's nothing. It's not that complicated. The average person, a little bit of reading. Let me give you an example. So when you want to see your child, right, there's an application called a C100 application that you got to submit, yeah?
Okay.
Now, if
And you
you-
can get that yourself?
You can get it
without-
online.
okay.
Yeah. You can download it, get it yourself, go to apply to the court, fill it in. Now, the thing is this. If you go to a solicitor,
Yeah.
this is the reality people need to understand. They will fill that form in for you from the information you give to him, and they will charge you £1,000 to £1,500.
Just to fill that form.
Right. Now, this form, when you think of it, he's going to fill it in with the information you give him. So when you fill it in, when you go through it, it's no more difficult than, let's say, a little tax return. It's not that
Okay,
difficult. It's just it's just a form.
And
Now,
is it a lot? Is it a form?
it's 2 or 3 pages, yeah.
okay.
But what I'm saying is, when you download the information from Google, there's a guide that you can print out, and it tells you
Yeah.
what every like what certain terms refer to, what they mean.
Okay.
So you can muddle through it. It's not
Yeah,
that
it's not that
difficult.
difficult.
Yeah.
So I
So
think a lot of people are frightened, especially when they see a lot of paperwork to.
yeah, I
process
think
a lot
what
of
it is,
things.
as soon as you hear court law, unless you're from that background, you've had any, you think, boy, where do you start? I ain't got a
Yeah,
clue.
That's the thing.
But
yeah.
hearing this is great for people because the fact you've done it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like once there's a group of people who
Yes.
start to pull
And
together.
Yes,
you know.
there are people doing it. There's groups that help you and
Fabulous.
support you. And like I said, you can get Mackenzie friends, but get proper vetted Mackenzie friends.
So you Google this Mackenzie people.
You
or
can Google them, or like I said, if you email me on my platform, I listen to your case and I point them to the right direction to someone suited for them.
Okay.
Because I now deal with different groups, different Mackenzie friends. I've seen the lay of the land.
So you've done all this on your own, all this search and
Yeah,
all on your own.
I ended up in this situation. So
Yeah.
my situation, I'll give you a little bit of my situation. March the 16th, 2022, for various issues that we discussed about control,
Yes.
I had to end my relationship. Me naively thinking, no problem, we have laws and processes, I'm going to go to court. When I have the children on the weekend, I can play with them on my own, no
Yeah.
control around them and all of this stuff. So hence I do that. Then I find out, okay, like I'm homeless, I'm jobless, I'm living out of a van, I've got no contact with my kids, I've got allegations planted against me, and I'm waiting for the court to respond. And the court is so incompetent, the court that I was dealing, the specific one in East London, they didn't, my molestation order ran out before I could even go and present myself.
Yeah.
That is how brutal it is, and you can't tell anyone about this order.
No.
So when this order happened, I couldn't even go 100 meters near my house. I've not been home ever since. So my personal clothing, belonging,
Yeah.
all my tools, my work, that's all still at home.
Oh,
And
no.
I own that house, so hence you can't get any housing or money or nothing because you own a house. So I'm homeless, this only country in the world, you can own a property and be homeless.
Yeah,
How?
yeah.
How is this possible? So that's what happened. So because I found myself in this situation, luckily I didn't fall into the clasp of these solicitors and lawyers, because when you go there, like I said, you're a lamb to the slaughter.
Yeah.
So I started doing research, started probing around, and what happens is, this is what I say to people: look, this is layman's, and this is nothing technical. Yeah, a lot of people get intimidated, and so was I. You get intimidated
yeah.
by the forms, the courts, the
Words and
system.
everything, yeah.
First, I would say you need to tackle it like this. This is a family court. It's not a criminal court. So you need to, in your head, sort of think this is a Mickey Mouse court. Yeah. Don't take it too seriously. First off, yeah.
Okay.
Because when people try and go by the book, yeah, if you completely buy the book, follow the rules, you ain't gonna get nothing. You're gonna lose. You're gonna have to hustle, dig deep, look for angles. So what I mean when I say that is, so even if you got a Mackenzie friend, he says, "We'll do it this way, this way." If you've got an idea or you're thinking, "No, but what about this? Can we do this? Do not just accept what anyone tells you.
Okay.
Say it. What if we do this? What if we try this? What if we tackle it like this? Why can't we do it like this? He says this is our strategy. Why is our strategy like that?
Okay.
Press and probe.
Question,
Do not
yeah.
just. It's because what happens with most people, and I've realised generally, if you walk into a room somewhere with a professional in that field, though you have your own common sense and gut feeling and a little idea, as soon as you see the guy in the white coat or the jacket or the hat or the professional or the overalls, you can see, you automatically switch your brain off.
Somebody listening from America.
Yes, what's happening? Yeah, we're here.
Welcome, Andy.
So,
And there's Jonathan as well.
Jonathan, yeah, get in there, John. That's
Get in there,
it.
Jonathan.
I get
Yeah.
It's like, because in our minds we think, oh, they're the authority.
Yes.
They know what's best.
They're the expert.
I'm
Yes.
just at the shallow end of the learning
And,
curve.
and then what I've realised is people do that throughout life with anything. Because you think sometimes, oh, I had an idea, I wanted to do this, but I had this, say, like, plumber came around and he said, it can only be done this way. And I thought, why can't it be done like that? But because he's the expert, you
Kind of
switch half your brain
intimidating,
off.
isn't it?
You switch half your brain off. It's subconscious. You switch your
Yeah.
brain and think, well, he's the expert, so
leave it to
I
him.
concede to the higher knowledge. That is generally a wrong thinking in life. And that's when I realised with this, that thinking was conditioning that we have just to be normal, everyday people.
Yeah.
You do that at work, oh, well, he's the boss, so he must be right, let's just go with his way. But then you think afterwards, that went wrong, but you think, I had that idea, why didn't I speak up? You just assume, same with this. And when you're in this situation, add that element to the fact that you're in emotional turmoil,
Yeah.
you're nervous, you're scared, you ain't seen your kids
So you
in
have no
weeks.
support when you're going through this. There's no one supporting
When you are going through this and you enter the family court system and you're a man and you've lost contact with your kids, you are truly alone.
Jesus.
The feeling of being alone, and even when you talk to people and family, sometimes they just say the wrong things, like you are on your own. And someone can comfort you, but look, it's that age-old thing. Unless it's your kid, I see people now, yeah, they look at me, oh, Farouk, you're great, they start talking to you like I'm not a normal civilian. I live off-grid. I live out of a van. I live mobile. I still have limited amount of... I've just hustled and survived and got by, right, yeah? Now, my thinking is not of a civilian. I don't think like a civilian. I can never be that again. It's like you can never go back to that thinking. So I go back to the Matrix. So, you know the Matrix when he says... When that guy's eating the steak and he says, I don't want to remember any of this. He goes, I know this ain't real, but that ignorance is bliss. I just don't want to remember the reality of this. You can never go back, not after knowing what you know now and what you see in the courts and what the laws that are in place. I couldn't walk away knowing, like, I couldn't sleep at night knowing what's out there and knowing what's going to happen to these kids that are coming up now. And that's what I'm saying. So when you enter the system, trust no one, question everything. If you get a good Mackenzie friend, still read up on your own, do your own research, ask for information, speak to other fathers, reach out to other people, get on social media, connect to people, get information from everywhere till you get yourself have an understanding of, right, this is what's going on. Hence you have to find your strength, because this is where people
keep
give
mentally
up.
strong as well, isn't it?
No, but when you're there, you don't care, you're just happy to die. That's the point. That is the reality. Hence, you have to dig deep, you have to find your strength and keep your kids in the forefront, because you can go, no one cares, I agree. But those kids, they have a chance of seeing their father. They have a chance of having that love and affection if you're still around. So pull yourself together, find the strategies, do the research, you can do it. Nothing is that complicated in life. Because like you said, people enter and think, my God, I'm going court, I need a barrister lawyer. When you start, like the C100, when I first saw it, oh bloody hell. $5,000 to submit that, fill it in, have a barrister for the first hearing, like I said, where you're just going to say your name and walk out. The C100, when I read through it, and I thought, hold on, are you for real? You're going to charge, people are charging £1,000, £1,500 for this. If you get a good Mackenzie friend, £100, he'll help you get through it. He'll help you write a statement. But don't even trust them. Trust no one. Do the research, and you can do, believe you can do this. Nothing is that complicated. Yeah? But you just got to apply your mind. And this is the other thing I'll say. When you're going through this emotional trauma, your nervous system is blown. Your brain is blown, your nervous system is blown, you are all over the place. Trauma can also give you strength. So if you use this trauma in the right way, you can produce feats of strength, physical and mental strength. Hence, apply your brain to the places that you need to. That's what I'm saying. So harness that energy and do it. So when you're fighting to live, listen, when you're fighting to stay alive, you're on adrenaline. You have a lot of strength. That strength, like I said, in any normal day without that trauma, you can't produce that. You're not capable of doing feats of greatness. When you've got that trauma and you're living with that trauma daily, if you harness it in the right way, you can excel yourself into anything. Also, when you do not fear any consequence, you're capable of anything. If you use that productively, you can achieve anything. Hence, you can fight for your kids, you can live to see another, you could potentially reach your full potential as a human being. And you have a duty to do that at least for your children. So that's what I say to people, and be ready to hustle. Those that want to be by the book and think, I'll go get a Mackenzie friend or a lawyer and I'll be okay because I paid money. Do not, but that's a fantasy.
Okay.
You're going to have to hustle. You're going to have to question. You're going to have to run around, do legwork. If you buy the book completely, think this is going to work, nothing, no one that's been completely straight by the book. Opportunities don't land on your lap. Yeah? You got to make your life, you got to make opportunities. Same with this. So I used every other skill set that I had previously from my previous lives. I amalgamated it and I thought, I can do this.
Yeah.
I know my work ability. If you're going to put in 1 hour, I'll put in 20. There is no comparison. When you come in with that mindset, you come in with that strength and energy, you cannot be a man who will just keep going. I should have been dead months ago. I'm still alive here, hence I cannot be stopped. My back's stopped because I should have been dead months ago. You cannot stop a man like that. And for my children, I will continue, and I'm not just my children now. It's not even about me or my children. It's about the evil, the evil in society that we are living amongst, from people who are meant to protect us and our children. That's why we have a duty to them, you know. That's why I've got to keep going.
Gosh.
It's off to you, because it's like, let's say there's a father exactly in your position now. They hear this, they're less on their own than you were because of what you've said, which is amazing.
You definitely have helped someone.
And there's plenty out there. Unfortunately, I get fathers reaching out all the time. They're on the verge of, ending it, and I say, look, just hold it together. And this is the other thing I say to you: if you are dealing with someone who's going through this, all you need to do is give them hope. Because when people say, look, in 8 months, year, when they're 18, they'll come and see. Listen, that's a long way off. That guy can't get past the next 8 minutes. Give them hope. Get them through those few hours. Get them through that day. Get them through that week. That's all that matters, until they get to a place where they're strong enough to manage themselves. You just need to get them through that hour or day. Like, make a joke, whatever. Take them for a coffee, change their environment. Just be normal, and don't. Just give them a little bit of hope. And listen, it'll be okay, mate. If you carry on, it might be okay. Just give it a chance.
It's amazing too what you said about the power and adrenaline that comes from when your back's right against the wall and there's trauma. What comes up for me is there's an image in my mind of a parent story way back when, of a parent who lifted up a truck to save their child.
Yes.
And that image. That when something really, really matters, you do what's needed. And it's great that you said that, because it'll give those people who are right up against it. Oh my God, I heard this. Maybe this is possible.
Exactly. So you know that feeling, and this is what I'm saying. So it's called fight, flight, or freeze. You're in that state all the time. So, like I said, you can harness it in the right way, and this is where you're in that state as well. That's when the solicitors we were talking earlier take advantage of you, because when you're that on edge, if I keep you on edge, but I give you a little carrot where you think, well, I give you a little bit of hope. You think, well, if I give him $5,000, he can get rid of that feeling. I'll be okay. What's $5,000 if he can get rid of this? That's when they fleece you for thousands. This is what I'm saying. And like you said, if your life depended on it, in that moment, you can do physical stuff that you've never done. Why is it that you have that strength in that moment? Not just the physical, but let's say because you've had no choice, you found yourself in a traumatic situation, risk of violence or an accident or something like that. You're either going to freeze, you're either going to run, or you get to a point where you think, look, I'm going to go if I don't do something, so I might as well give it my best. At that point, that strength you can draw, and the mental strength you can draw out to do that, and like I said, your body will produce the adrenaline to deal with it, So in that moment, that strength you can draw out. Now, when you're going through the family court, the other emotional element that people don't realise is you're in that state. You've got that trauma. And when we talk about the risk, you've got to understand, there's no threat of immediate violence or risk to you, but there's an element of your child's not in danger, but you don't have the security of knowing that your child is safe. You've got to understand, it's a primal human emotion. So a father, what he wants to do is, and if you're dealing with alienation and control and all these games as well, and the relationships where unfortunately the mother has been violent and stuff like that and abusing child, this is even worse. So that father, he feels even more need to protect, a primal pre-wired instinct to protect that child. Hence, when you go to the family lawyers as well, that instinct is driven, right? That primal need to protect is then equated into finance. If I pay this money, I'll be protecting my child. So what a lot of fathers, unfortunately, they get loans that they end up in debt. Yes, they end up in debt. But understand that primal feeling. So these people, the architects of the family, they know these emotions. They've studied this. So that need to want, and this is what I'm saying. So you can produce that adrenaline and do something out of character to protect your child. It's primal. So when you end up in family court, you've got that it's that primal hardwiring. Your child's not in danger as such, but you want to be with them, you want to protect them. That emotion, a system has been built to monetize that feeling. Think about that. Who sat there and thought about it and think, hold on, these men will come in and fight the natural feeling, but we equate that into finance. These people are clever. We talk about evil. This is what I'm saying, it's a pure evil in its core.
And you know what, Jonathan, there's been so many suicides from men, I didn't even know.
Gosh.
10 men a day, John, post-separation, average, not studies done by me.
In the UK?
In the UK and globally, the male suicide rate is 4 or 5 times potentially higher than women.
God,
Yeah,
mercy.
if you go into, like I said, I can't quote full figures, I'm not a numbers man. Go on to Split the Difference's website, Split the Difference, they've done global research into this. Men, like I said, are being let down globally because of this agenda and this narrative of women and girls are victims. Now this is the other thing, right, yeah? What Sister Sally told me, right, yeah? Sister Sally Ambar is a very clever lady. I've done an interview with her. She explains, I asked her, how did we get here? How did this happen? So the Istanbul Convention of 2011 for women and girls, for that convention to exist, this is the problem. So you've got that one law, one convention. Unless you now have a convention for men and boys, that will balance it out. They will then be equal. But because there is no convention for men and boys, that one convention and the laws and everything that brings, which is written into, I think, most countries in the world, it automatically stifles men. You've automatically become a perpetrator. So if the police get called, even down in England, to a property where, let's say the missus has reported abuse, the woman has reported some sort of altercation and abuse, if police turn up and the man has got marks on him and he's bleeding and whatnot, they will still walk away. And that man will be reported as the abuser. So then that feeds into the stats of women are victims. You see, that feeds the stats. Those stats then feed this narrative of women and victims becoming, women and girls becoming victims. Now let me, okay, you're a lady, yeah? Let me ask you a question, yeah? If you look at this law around coercive control now, yeah? It's ridiculous. It's gone ridiculous. Anything can be. They could pull something out of your lifetime, John, and say, John, 20 years ago, you were in this relationship. She wanted to buy a BMW, you wanted Mercedes, you didn't let her buy a Mercedes. That's coercive control. This is the madness of it. It can go back to any time and anywhere, yeah? Now, if you think about this, that behavior in its own, like coercive control, manipulative behavior, primarily women are more, they're more prone to behavior. Men don't really understand it. Like I said, for example, I know one case specifically, yeah? Every time this geezer wanted to do something with this kid, yeah? So when he was to take this kid to his mum, so the kid's grandparents locally, yeah? So listen, I'm popping out, I'll take the kids quickly with me for a little drive, yeah, see my mum. Oh, it's shower time. Like, oh, okay. Next weekend, oh, it's bedtime. It's dinner time. It's homework time. He didn't see it for years, and I'm thinking, hold on, look, every time I want to do something with the kids, that... And I tell you, we talk about coercive control, yeah? So he goes, I wanted to drop the kids to school. So he used to go night shift, come home in the morning, perfectly fine, he never went to bed. Every time he wanted to drop the kids to school, he was like, Miss, oh, babe, you really don't look well. I think you should lie down for a couple of hours. Don't worry, I'll sort the kids out. You lie down. When I come back, I'll make you a fry-up and you can watch Jeremy Kyle, right, or whatever it is, yeah? Or whatever morning TV it is. He's like, yeah, you're right. You know what you think then? Yeah, but you're right, I am. Maybe I am tired. Gosh. Oh, you look really terrible. Your eyes look... Yeah, so that she wouldn't drop the kids to school. Because do you know what that does? Control. You control the bond with the kids. You control that relationship. You control the relationship with the teachers. The teachers, the welfare teacher at the school, unfortunately she's female as well, they're all sort of in on that. There's a little unit. So the language that the women talk and use and control is very different from men. You see the men at the school run, mate, they're half asleep, they don't know what's going on. They're playing with the kids, drop them off, and see you later dad, swing, and they go home. But men don't think like that. So I'd go as far as saying, right, yeah, I think the coercive control stats around how men are coercive, I don't believe them. I disagree with all of them. I think they're false. I think they're made up. I think more men are being coercive controlled, and 50% don't even know it. That's the point. There's 60% they don't even know it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you know what we said earlier, for example, yeah? So let's say your son say lives around here with you, he gets a girlfriend. Say that his girlfriend's family live in East London, yeah? North London. Then after time, now look, traditionally, I can't talk about other communities, the Asian community, and traditionally in the English community, it was that the father gave the daughter away to the husband and said, you're responsible for her. She came into his family, she took his name on, the children take that father's name on, yeah? there was that traditional belief and value. Is in the Indian culture and the Muslim culture is still like that. That's how it is, yeah. But what plays out in community and society now, because of the way the gender wars have played out, there's a marriage crisis in the Muslim community as a whole and a divorce crisis now. So what's happening is guys want to get married, they can't find potentials. Women hold the power now this day and age. Women are demanding houses, cars. He has to have a degree, he has to have so much salary. Do you see what I'm saying? All of that is now playing out in front of our own eyes. I see this now, yeah. And what happens is now, because the power is with one gender, right? Even as a society, it's with one gender. Boys want to get married, boys want to get laid, they want to get with girls, so they're willing to compromise more, yeah? Girls are pulling all the strings. So after marriage as well then, that traditional view, it's not done openly, it's done coercively. So she will create so many problems and dramas in his life around his family. And there's always a problem at dinner or Christmas, and there's always an argument. So next Christmas, let's just not go to your mum and dad. So when you create these situations of
like a bit of narcissism.
Yes, but this is being played out in so many cases. Like the fathers I deal with from my own community, so this is their key weapon: coercive control, these sort of isolation tactics. And this is what you do: you isolate a person. So how you control a man more, right, is you isolate him. So you create these problems and dramas in his household or near and around his family. So when his own brothers, sisters, mum and dad feel uncomfortable, say, with her, by trying to avoid her, they indirectly avoid him. And then what they do is, oh, your family are never around, they don't support us, but they all feel uncomfortable. You don't do that in front of him, yeah? But my family are always there. My family always support us. Why don't we move to East London? It's done so subtle, right? Unfortunately, and the guy's like, yeah, maybe you're right. You don't see it. Next thing you know, he's there. He's living with his family. He's living with near the missus' family. Next thing you know, Christmas, you probably that no, something going on my in-laws, they take priority. But it's that control. So and once he's isolated, so when the man gets isolated from his own family, his network, he's weaker. He's easier to control. Is isolate and control. These are the tactics that are used, and that's how coercive control is done. And more men are being controlled like that, categorically. And they say like coercive control is more female, but I don't believe it. I refuse to believe this.
Wow, it's for the young people. My throat, sorry. I don't know what happened to my throat.
Don't worry, I'll make up. I'll make up for you. Don't worry, I'll hammer it out harder.
Probably for my throat. I don't know. I woke up and it was just like this. Yeah. Honestly, Farouk, I'm so grateful for you coming in and sharing this, because I did not.
Yes.
Last week I was desperate. When I tell you I was desperate, when I was in DMing you, I was desperate.
Okay, no, you should have told me.
You know,
I'd have got you hooked up
desperate.
already. I'd have looked.
I didn't know which direction to go, and I didn't want my son to say, I can't be bothered no more.
No, this is what you do. And listen, if you're going through family court, the other advice I'll give your son and all the others, yeah, because like I said, a lot of guys, they're going through it because it's so emotionally draining. As we spoke about with Ed, you know, that broken contact in these games, they keep changing goalposts. You deal with 10 allegations, and now you start making progress, they come out with 10 more allegations. There's a lot of, and look, a good Mackenzie friend will know how to navigate through this. But you as an individual, the only way you will survive is, don't take it too seriously.
Okay.
Yeah? Excuse me. If you're too emotional, look, firstly, you have to concede in your heart, forget your kid, they're gone. Concede to the fact that, look, they are gone, and, you know, I'm a God-fearing man, I'm Muslim, so I believe God brought them into this world, they're not my property, He will take care of them, He will look after them, clothe them, He will guide them, they're on their own journey. I will do my best, I leave it to the higher power, yeah? Because when you're dealing with a monster, this idea that you alone are enough, listen, you need that spiritual strength to keep going, number one, yeah? So I say this, do not take it too seriously.
Okay.
Because what they do, the other tactic in court, just so I'll put it out there so your son and others know, yeah?
Yes.
Especially if you're representing yourself, they will try and wind you up. The other side will try and wind you up, literally. Sometimes even the judge will try and wind you up. There's cases where the judge is literally in bed with the missus, you could argue, because he's there just supporting mum. He won't even let you speak. You are, like I said, they will try and trigger you. And then with frustration, sometimes guys get angry, start shouting and screaming. What happens? See, we told you. This is the narcissism I'm talking about. We told you, look, he's in control. Judge is like, yeah, you're right. And I'll tell you what, do you know what's happening in the Muslim community specifically? And the family court, when I say it's evil, I'll tell you why, yeah? They have a blueprint, and not the family, the women's aid. They give the women the blueprint for every culture, religion and background. So I'll give you an example, yeah? A lot of military guys, policemen, firemen, when they're from that background, he's got PTSD. He's unpredictable. He might hurt the kids. So these are how military boys are being treated. These are the guys that go on to fight for their country. Yeah, they got the PTSD card against them. If you're, let's say you're a black man, right? You're a big, sort of strong black guy. You look like that. Judge, look at him. He doesn't respect women. He beats women. And then the judge looks over and it's like he's a big Nigerian man. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then, like with a Muslim guy, like, you know, a lot of brothers with beards and hats, yeah. And you got sisters. I'm telling you, you got sisters that wear hijab, niqab, so-called religious sisters, yeah. Standing there, judge, that they used to dress like that before they got married, yeah. Judge, he's forced me to dress like this. Judge, he's an extremist. Judge, he watches extremist videos. They've got the extremist card, and then if that card don't stick right, yeah. Guess what? Yeah, but he's Indian. They look down upon women. Culturally looks down. They've got every card. The judge looks over. Let's say, like I said, he sees a traditional Nigerian man. He sees an Asian man or an Arab or a guy like an Afghan, a guy with a beard. Mate, you got absolutely no. Every card is being used, and cross culture, cross community. If he's a white guy, right? What they say is English guy. Oh, he gets drunk after watching football on Sunday, and then he gets aggressive. He's unpretty. There's a card for every scenario. You know what I'm saying? Let's say the Jamaican guy, oh, he smokes weed in the house, this and that, is dangerous for the kids. Whatever it is, they can make, they got everything. And what they will do, they will try and trigger you. They will try and trigger you, wind you up till you react. You got to stay cool and don't take it too seriously. Because when you're on this journey, look, you could be on this journey 1, 2, 3, 4 years, yeah? You are burning emotional fuel daily. You need to be in a place where you can run on autopilot.
Yeah.
I could do this every day. I got called for the next 20 years, it ain't gonna affect me. I'll still have bounds of energy, they can't stop me. Do you see what I'm saying? You need to be in that state where you're not burning fuel. Don't take it too seriously. Treat it like Mickey Mouse. That way you don't overreact, you don't panic. And like I said, they'll place alligator. They'll do all sorts of stuff to trigger you. You got to stay cool and composed. And like I said, as far as the women, every community code, they've sold out. Women, and like I said, people have sold it. When they walk into family court, religion, spiritual beliefs, all of that, God is left at the door. Unfortunately, people don't carry it in. They will do whatever they go against their own values, customs, religion, just to get one over. Unfortunately, people, like I said, people's religions are tested in their personal affairs. If you can still control your ego, your anger, still tell the truth in your personal affairs, those people are the true religious people. Just because people appear religious, do not assume they're religious. Remember this as well, yeah? I'll put that out there. In a family court, we've seen it all, mate. It's atheists all the way through. There's no religion. It's evil. The only religion in family court is evil and money and what we can fleece out of this couple by keeping them fighting. That is it.
Well, people, you heard this here by Farouk, and wow, that's all I can say is just wow. I'm shocked, and I've got a sore throat. Jonathan, tell us about you. Hello, my dear.
Well, my biography in a nutshell, it's all like Minnie Mouse.
How are you?
I'm good.
You
all
good?
the better for seeing you.
And
all the better for seeing you.
Sorry about me sore throat. Like
That's
I said,
all right,
I woke
that's all
up
right.
and it happened. I don't know.
Yeah, when you invited me, it was a no-brainer. Just the idea of hanging out with you was like, yep, let's do that. Let's do it.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Deep, innit? Yeah.
It is, you know, and it's, I came here with a, when I said to you beforehand, Jenny said, oh, is there anything particular? No, let's play it by ear.
Yeah, play it by ear.
But there's something about what you've been saying for it really touches a nerve, because the one of my, so linking a couple of things, we said, oh, what are you all about? And then linking it, oops.
Yeah.
There goes.
Oh, that's all right.
Is it back?
Yeah, that.
There we go.
Is it that one?
Yeah.
But those areas in life where, one aspect of my life has always been about words and storytelling. And I kind of fell into advertising. That was my dad's world. And there was a point, 20, 30 years ago, I was like, it's my world. It's my world. And there's something about stories out there that are crying out to be told.
Right, okay.
That are really important. So as you were talking there, it's like, there's those places in the world where things are made complicated, to obfuscate, to shroud things in mystery, partly so that people don't feel powerful, and partly so these people can charge a lot because they're the ones who can untangle it all for you. Yeah. And so it's just got different things I've done in my life where it's like, now this is a story that matters. Now this is a story that matters, and actually thinking, okay, what are the pennies we need to make drop, and how do we make them drop? Yeah, and that literally, is the key, yeah. And making, empowering people, because there's a lot of people who aren't empowered in this country who deserve to be, and it's touched a lot of nerves, different things that you were saying.
Can I ask you something, Jonathan?
Yeah.
This is the key, right? Because you've touched on something, which is what I'm trying to do, right? So the thing is this, as we spoke earlier, yeah? Now, a lot of people, and all the fathers I speak to, and anyone that enters the system, like I said, I'm born and raised in England 41 years. I presume you've been in England a long time, yeah?
51.
51, right. Now, so what I'm saying to you is now...
62. There we go.
Well, there you go, John.
Someone's going to come in a minute. 70.
Now, the thing is, Jonathan, right? I say to myself, okay, so we know it's a secret court and it's kept secret, yeah? So then they can stay empowered, yeah? But it's one of those things that now, because I've now entered it and seen it, and then my eyes have opened, and I think, wow, is this what's going on? This is the law, this is the country and society we live in. Now, what I've been trying to do is, how do I create an image, or let's say call it some sort of content or image, so, because it's very hard to have this realization until you enter it. Now, in order to help and protect people and protect the generations coming up, we need for them to have this realization.
Yeah.
How do you create that for an average guy? Like, for example, so for me, before this happened, when I was a civilian, I call it when I was a civilian, what could have happened for me to come to realizing from, wow, bloody hell, is this the devastation that's going on? I'm still trying to create an image where I can touch the masses where they think, whoa, wow, is this what's going on? It's hard to create that.
It isn't, it isn't. It isn't, it isn't. So it's like, as you were saying, that this is not the image, but it's an image. You ever seen the movie The Wizard of Oz?
Yes.
And there's a point where, you know, Toto.
Yeah.
Toto comes up, gets the curtain by the teeth, pulls it away.
That's
the
right.
cloth comes down,
Yeah.
and there's the guy pulling the strings. It's all a bloody illusion.
Yeah.
So there's something in what you're saying. It's about pulling away a veil.
Yes.
Pulling away a veil.
Yes.
And it's like, so this is what's going on. That isn't the image you're looking for, but a lot of...
No, that's what we need to achieve, yes.
I've been very, in lots of different ways, I've been very blessed in my life. Partly in... so starting advertising, it was once described as the most fun you can have with your clothes on. That was advertising. In my life, I've often worked as one half of a creative team, so I'd be... This is going to sound very sexist, but yeah, Mr. Words, Mr. Pictures, because typically they were blokes that I work with. And so between us, we come up with the ideas. So I might come up with a headline, he might come up with a visual, but I might come up with a visual, he might come up with a headline. But the thing is like, how do we bring this idea into being?
Yes.
And the thing is, because out there, to get on people's radar, 90% of stuff out there is communication, branding, advertising. It's rubbish.
Yeah.
You know, to cut through it, it's like, you know, when if you've ever seen a baby look at a flower, they go, they drink it in with their eye, they see the whole flower, they see that it's a miracle. As we get older and mature, we switch off. Red rose, you've seen that before. We don't see the miracle.
You're less
of it.
susceptible to, your brain won't respond to it.
We're trained to tune out stuff that isn't a threat.
You're conditioned.
So the stuff that comes through, if something's going to threaten your life, that cuts through. If someone's a dear mate, that will cut through. When you're walking down Oxford Street looking at hundreds of people, different things, there might be a clown on a 20-foot unicycle, juggling. Oh, that's interesting. There's not many things that cut through. So knowing that to get on people's radar, there are games, if you like, to play to cut through. And sometimes those games have been used for not very healthy stories to get into our brains. But what's lovely is, for me, it's like, how can I use my talents to be of service? How can I harness these ways in which we can get on people's radar and make pennies drop with stories that are crying out to be told, like the one that you've been talking about. So one aspect of what I do is about bringing stories to life. Another is I have this thing about creativity. I think we're all creative. It's like birds are born to fly, fish are born to swim. Human beings, we're creative. Some of the lovely things you touched on, it's like we turn thoughts into things. Unmanifest to manifest. That's what we do.
Definitely.
And when I was growing up, I remember my mum once saying to it, "Oh, you creative ones." She didn't talk like that, by the way. I just had to give her a different voice. I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, your dad went to art school, your sister went to art school. You write a lot." I said, "I'm not." I said, "Mum," I said, who created this house?" Mum lived in the same house for nearly 60 years, but made an amazing home for us. And she said, "Well, me and your dad." I said, "But who mostly?" She said, "Well, I suppose I did." I said, "There you go. If that isn't creative, what the heck is?" To manifest a beautiful home. So there's someone in my life now, it's a female touch, countering some of the things you said, who's waved a bit of a female magic wand, and the place is not what it was. It's beautiful. It's magical. You know, it's like full of plants and throws and come home. And she has health challenges. Come home. She's painted 2 of the bloody walls.
Oh wow!
And the place is just.
Right, you've got a good woman. If she's doing DIY paint, you've got a good woman. You've done well. I was going to say, John, you've done well right there. That's a bonus right there.
She's very different. She's very different. So you know that. But yeah, we are all creative, and there's something. There's one of the little pieces that sits underneath the narrative you were talking about the system that we live in.
Yeah.
There's, whether we call them the powers that be or whatever, the people who are pulling the strings, if you like, they don't want us to be in touch with our creativity. They don't want us to be in touch with our...
You're dumbed down then. You're conditioned.
Programmed.
Yes, 100%.
You know, there's a lot of...
social condition, I call it. Yeah.
And, you know, the last few years there's been some funny stuff that's gone on in the last few years. Just like, what the heck? You know, I remember a point where there's, once in a while there's been, well, I don't know where we go with this, but there's, you know, there has been some politicians I've respected and admired, but there's not too many that are in the spotlight right now. It's like, you know, the Jack Johnson, you know, where do all the good people go?
Yeah.
It's like, well, they're flying under the radar, and they're coming. Yeah, that's what we have to do, you know.
Well, so can I ask you something? Look, you could say this is a bit controversial.
Go for it.
So we talked about getting attention, triggering people's attention span, getting their focus, getting them to engage, and we could take the cloak off, to see the reality. Yeah. So let's talk Andrew Tate for a second then, He has captured people. He has a manner of speech. He has an ability. The key is this, I mean, he has an ability. Forget whether you agree with him or not, put that aside, but he has an ability to cut through and target something because he's had with a mass following here. So he's managed to cut through that, He's got the attention. Then he talks about his message, and then you could argue then, okay, they're being shut down. Because is he then triggering others to be seeking within their own creativity, and that is dangerous then for the system. Do you see what I'm saying? Because whether you agree with his politics or not, he's achieved what we just spoke about. Yeah, you touch the masses, you cut through, you make people think, and you think, well, yeah, right, why are we doing this? Why can't I do this? Why can't I be like this?
And just to go right back to the fellow you talked about, there's something that kind of links how Jenny and I met, and there's something. So we met on let's call it an indigenous kind of healing retreat.
Retreat.
And the path that led to that, I was going with my dear friend. We're going to some series of sound bath, gong bath healings, and this lovely lady who runs them, she said, you know, what we are at one level is love, energy, sound, vibration. That's it. Yes. So it's like when you talk, the guy you talked, the key thing is where is this person or that person coming from? Yes. What's the place that they're coming from? Yes. Is it a place of love? Yes. And to me, it's like we get bombarded with so many messages, but once in a while there's someone that resonates with us. Yes. We think this, whether it's a close friend, whether it's a neighbour, whether it's a family member, or someone that we might only see on the screen, but there's a truth about that person, and they resonate with them, and you can see that the place they're coming from is. And I think that's what people are ready for. There's not many of them on our TV screen, so you can't. They're the most inspiring people, it seems like, in this country and worldwide, are often flying under the radar, and they're not on. Yeah, they're not. A lot of ordinary people aren't aware of some really inspiring souls who, in some cases, had to be off the radar because what they're doing is empowering people, and there's those that want to censor those kind of people who are coming from a place of love, which is crazy.
But then would it be a key, you could say then, those people are flying under the radar, but those that are looking, so if you've had an epiphany in life and you're now looking for that, you will find it if you're looking. But if you're so conditioned where you're so woven into, I call it the hamster wheel, you're so part of the system, you don't really look right or left, you can't see it. Yeah. You'll never see it, you're too conditioned, you're too far gone. Yeah. So those that are literally looking, they've got a chance.
You know what I said about the baby looking into it? Yeah. There's there's human animal and there's the human being. Yes. And there's a piece which like, so I know, and some close friends will hold a mirror up to me sometimes going, look, there you go again. Oh, geez. Yeah. I will do things in autopilot. Yes. The times we'll drive a car down.
You'll go back to your programming.
When those times you must have had this where you're driving a car home, a route that you know, and you get home you think, geez, who drove that? I don't remember a single turning. because your
Yeah.
autopilot is in. So there's times where our autopilot serves us, but there's times
Yes.
where there's, for all of us, the scope to tune into being much more present
Okay.
to what's going on.
So this is very interesting, yeah, because when you talk about narcissistic behaviour and
Yeah.
personalities, and I've always questioned what contributes to this sort of personalities, yeah. Now, what psychologists and a little bit of studying that I've done, and they've said is that whatever programming you have from 0 to 10, 10 to 20, your brain patterns and neurological pathways have been formed by your experiences and the surroundings and environment and the habits and the emotion that you grew up in, yeah? They have formed your pathways, hence second generational trauma that plays out then in relationships, yeah? So that programming, do you have any sort of could you add anything to that, or what contributes to this sort of narcissistic behaviours and personalities? Because it's damaging for all round. What contributes, do you think, specifically to that behaviour?
So years ago, I was trustee of an amazing charity called Right From the Start. And this amazing lady, she was James Blunt's auntie, among other things. But she was all about how pre-birth there's things that influence
Yes.
the baby. So it's like Roald Dahl wrote this lovely little tiny autobiography called Boy. It's about him growing up, and he talked about when his mum and dad were expecting.
Right.
And he had siblings. I don't know how many. The Roald Dahl's father would take his mother on beautiful walks to infuse the child with beautiful things. So there's things which influence how a baby is before it's born, but I think linked to some of the indigenous stuff that we touched on, there's ancestral stuff
Ancestral,
that we have no idea about.
Yeah.
So the idea, and this is a new idea to me this year, the idea that we're carrying with us ancestral trauma.
Yes.
So and sometimes, you know, we have to, some people I know have taken a hit for the family. Who's actually they're looking to change the pattern that's come down from generation to generation.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, I mean, the whole idea of life's a bit of a mystery. We don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, you think birth. How does that happen? You know, but if we're going to inherit genes and characteristics and other habits, well, why wouldn't we inherit memories and experiences and all those other things as well? You know.
Okay, so can I ask you a question, right? Yeah. Tell me if you think this is right then. So, you know, like, let's say you meet a person, you know, he's a grafter, a hard worker. Do you think that's inherited, like some people are just grafters? Or is that trained behaviour, or is that behaviour that can be changed?
Can it be both?
It's going to be.
It can be both.
The cocktail will change from person to person. And you know, it's like we're all individuals, so it's like we can.
Yeah, I think you have some influence. Okay, so basically, the environment has sort of. So okay, you've got your heritage and genes, but that'll play a percentage. Environment, atmosphere will play a percentage as well, and then. But do you think there's it's a small 10% of your innate individual character? It's got.
Who knows? Who knows? It's like how much of what we, you know, when I'm singing in the shower to myself.
Yeah.
Is that the real me? Who knows?
Am
I
real
putting on an act
expression?
with myself? You know.
Yeah. But listen, words of Bruce Lee, to truly be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
The form of expression, the form of honest expression, right? Yeah, is very. You could spend a lifetime trying to master that. Yeah.
Trying to find it out.
Very deep thought, Jonathan. I must say, you got me thinking deeply now.
That's the good thing about Jonathan. You will really think. Jonathan, you've got to come to his podcast as well.
Yeah. So when's yours?
When is it?
Mine's Disqualified Dad. I'm on the road. I meet people. I set up lighting on the spot. Bam, 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 bam. I've already got 6 episodes out on YouTube on Disqualified Dad. So check it out.
And we'll get a
subscribe.
T-shirt, hopefully.
I'll get you a T-shirt. I was going to bring some,
But
and
you
then I
didn't,
thought,
did you?
no, I thought, well, yeah, she might say,
Good man.
do I look like someone to wear T-shirts? And I thought, I don't disrespect.
It's not about that. You just
But
bring
you're right.
it.
I should have brought it.
You should have
Just
bought it.
staple it onto the
Staple it on the
wall.
wall or something.
I'm
at least.
gonna send it in the post.
Are you?
I'm gonna
So
send it in
I'll
the
write
post.
it
good
down.
title, Disqualified Dad. It's in here already. Nice
See?
bit of
Catchy.
alliteration, doesn't it? You know.
Yeah,
that
it's
works.
catchy, nice little logo. You know,
Yeah, it's
is it?
good.
Perfect. Yeah, it's catching on this logo.
Oh, we'll wear it.
So
yeah.
one of the things I do, one of the reasons I'm here, there's a super inspiring client I'm working with, who her thing is, I won't say her name, her business name or anything, in case she wants to come on here and herself, but her business is all about rehumanising the workplace and creating, you know, safe environments where individuals at all levels have a voice, and
Yeah.
it's very inspiring what she does. But yeah, names is
Yeah.
a lot of what
Go on.
Yeah, so the other thing
Go
I've
on,
got,
go,
so you're
mate.
talking about capturing images. The other
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
I do, I wear an orange jumpsuit.
Oh, yeah.
Prisoner,
Like a prisoner. You
so
went
I
to Parliament
interview-
last week.
I interview in the jumpsuit. So
Yeah.
that orange suit is now catching on. I was in Parliament with it as well. So that is my other USP is catching on.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when we do the interview, I'll be in my jumpsuit.
He'll be in his jumpsuit, like
I'm
a
a
prison
prisoner.
jumpsuit.
Yeah, I should. If you want, we need to come up with a. Given that this is called, we're not going to do it now, but you know, love to beat and all that.
Yeah.
We need to come up with some rap that describes what disqualified
Yeah.
dad is all
Yeah.
about.
I like
Yeah.
it, yes.
Do it in a-
Yeah,
We'll
yeah, I
do
love
it.
it.
I forgot
We'll
Yeah.
do
Rap.
it. We will do it. So
Definitely.
you and I will stay connected, and we'll
Definitely.
find
Yeah.
a rhyme because you know
Fun.
words
Yeah.
is my thing.
Not
his
perfect,
thing.
but I've
Yeah.
been thinking of doing something like that anyway. It was perfect. It was meant to be. So there you go.
Well, no, we won't do it now.
Yeah. So I'm out of practice on the cameras on.
Oh, so
Good stuff.
when does the podcast? When is the actual sessions?
I try and release one every weekend.
Oh, and
So
the weekends,
yeah,
yeah,
so it's
okay.
around, I've got to the stage now where doing regular interviews, and I try and release every weekend. Bam, 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 bam. There's 6 long form podcasts out already.
And what time is it from?
There's no time. I just
There's no
release
time.
it. Yeah, I just
Oh.
release it. Yeah, I just release
Okay.
on the weekend. So normally Sunday, because
Sunday's
publishing and editing, people don't realize how difficult all the behind the scenes
So
work
I've heard,
is.
yeah.
So the editing, publishing. So I'm doing one a weekend. So there's one released every weekend. So mostly Sunday afternoon,
Sunday
day
afternoon.
evening. is
Okay, that
released.
sounds
So,
good.
yeah.
Is that doable for you, John?
Carry on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
John,
yeah.
I'll touch base with
So,
you
are
sometime.
you
yeah.
local to here?
No, I'm from East London, but I travel
London.
around. I travel around with my kit, and we just sit
Oh,
wherever. I
lovely.
just need a sofa, I just whatever. We just need somewhere to sit. I set the lighting on the spot. I'm an electrician by trade and an engineer, so I'm very
Okay.
practical like that. I just set up anywhere. You know what I mean? I don't need nothing.
Cool.
I just set up anywhere.
Okay.
Most important thing is we get the information out there. I mean,
Yeah,
I make
yeah,
everything else
definitely.
happen around the person. So I come to your house, for example. I'd come to your place. You just set the lighting up, sit there, and we'd hit it. Job done. Set up the tripods. All good. I'm mobile. Yeah.
Very cool.
Sounds
Very
good.
cool.
We have 8 minutes, guys.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask. We're gonna get off the subject a bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask a very. Don't know what the question is. Just a throwaway question. If you had one thing you could change in this world, what would it be, and why?
Oh God.
Right then, if you can't answer, Jonathan, you answer first. You think about it. One thing, Jonathan, and why?
Find a way. It's almost like it's like a positive contagion that spreads, like a positive contagion that spreads like that people reconnect with themselves, with nature, and with their own nature creativity.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Farouk.
Alright, if there's one thing I
One.
could do and show, I'm going to be selfish and say this. I wish I could go back and spend time, the time that I missed with my kids, because it can never come back. All those days and nights and hours working, you just think you're
You just don't know.
You're
The
doing
thing is,
it,
when
yeah.
you start out with having kids, you don't know.
But what men do is they think I'm doing my bit, so I'm
Yeah.
providing for them. But I say those moments can never come back. So I'll be selfish and just say,
Yeah.
I'll go back and enjoy every single moment. I'll work less and spend more time with my kids, because these moments can never come back. Memories can never come back. So yeah.
Okay.
Do you know there's a flip side? Just thinking, disqualified dad. Two things about it. It's a great name. It's in here. To me, I'm just thinking that's your start point.
Yes.
That's your start point, and it's singular. But over here, there's something that's dad's plural, and it's a collective, and it's positive. So there's a name for, in any story, it's like you go from here to there.
Yes.
And there's a place that you're aiming for where
Yeah.
you're not disqualified, whether you call it empowered, connected with your
And when
kids,
you
whatever.
become qualified, maybe. Yeah.
And
That's
so
the
it's
point, yeah.
so there's something about painting that positive image of where you're heading to, and it's not in the singular, it's in the plural. So it's something dad's,
Okay.
know?
Alright, yeah.
because that's in a way there's your solo story, but there's a collective story that you're bringing about by being on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I said earlier,
Absolutely.
a solo dad who was feeling very on his own,
Yeah.
right up against it, listening to this, isn't on his own as he
And
was
somebody
because
from
of what you've
America is
said.
listening from it as
You
well.
know?
Very
But that's,
happy.
so I'll think on that as
That's
well.
what it's all
I think
about.
that's-
No, it's perfect, and this is exactly what it's all about, is reaching out to those
Yeah.
who feel
And to
alone.
186 countries today as well.
Yes, shout out to all 186, we're here for
Like,
you, we got you, we
186,
got you.
yeah.
Blimey. Good for you, Jim.
Yeah, I'll tell you, isn't it? What else? Anyway, another question before we finish.
Yeah, go for it.
So, would you rather have, what's the biggest amount? I'm going to say £1 million, because none of us got £1 million. I hope not anyway. Would you rather have £1 million cashing out, or be age 6 with all the knowledge you've got? Which one would you choose?
I'm just going to be greedy. I'll have £1 million now.
Just
I
like
can do a
son.
lot. I can do a lot of good. Yeah, I can do a lot. £1 million enough to make it big. It's good enough for me. I'll deal
And
with
you,
that.
Jonathan, would you rather
I
go
don't-
back and be 6 years old with all this knowledge you know now?
No, I'll take it back. I'll go back to being 6. I'll take it back.
Okay.
Yeah, £1 million ain't that much money.
Yeah.
I'll take it back. I'll revolt my arm. I'll go back to being 6 with all the knowledge
All
I
the
have.
knowledge, yeah?
Definitely, yes.
What about
I-
yourself, Jonathan? Oh, you're not too chuffed with
I'm
money.
meant to be. I'm meant to be here now. So it's
Yeah.
like you know,
I like
the way I was.
that.
The way I was 6 was how I was when I was 6. I wouldn't be a six.
Ah.
I wouldn't be a 6-year-old with the knowledge I've got now. I wouldn't be 6.
Okay.
I wouldn't be innocent. I'd be a screwed up 6-year-old, knowing what I know
Me
now.
too.
I'd start talking to other kids and think, God, what's he? He's a bit of a weird one. Well, I thought anyway.
It's just a
But it's
throwaway
like-
question, just to break down
But
what
the
we've been
idea,
talking,
but
you
there's
know?
there's stuff you can do with money. You know, it's like
Yeah.
the people who win on the lottery and then they blow it all because programmed
Yeah.
to be poor or whatever you want.
This and that, yeah.
But to
Money
have,
gives you options. Yeah.
there's ways that it's not the you can win £1 million. It's not for that. It's like
Yeah.
there's stuff that we can
Can
each of us
do.
could
Yeah.
put it towards
Practically, yeah.
that can bring good stuff into being. You know, like
We will
stories
try.
crying out to be told like yours. You know,
You can leave the world in a slightly better place than where you
Definitely.
found it. That's the bottom line, isn't it?
that is it.
And money can help you with that.
That is, you know, and it's like when we get to one little, there was something very, very. I did a very powerful personal development weekend about 30 years ago, and the penny it dropped for me was like, how can I turn my life into a creative adventure? So when I get to the end of it, you know, I get knocked down by a bus tomorrow or 30 years, whatever. No, anyway, but the thought is that I gave him my best shot.
Yes, yeah.
You know,
At least,
because the
yeah.
worst the thing none of us wants is to get to that place and have regrets.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, Jonathan. People don't live in the moment. This is what people don't truly understand.
I lived in the moment because I'd done a skydive 2 months ago, so I
Great.
live in the moment.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And people, you should do more
I
stuff
tell you
like
that?
that.
You did,
I
you
did.
did. So
I know my son's doing it next
Cool.
month. Yeah.
So the reason I have to do a skydive, not just because of
Yeah.
it's my best mate. He's more like a brother, Andy. We run. He's visually impaired. We run together a lot. We're
Yeah,
dear
that's right,
mates.
Yeah.
He did a skydive, and he was giggling like anything when he came down. I thought I have to do this.
You
one
have to
day.
do
So,
it,
yeah,
and
I
I've
will.
done it, so
I
you've
will.
got to do it now.
I've been wanting to do one as well.
You've
So
got
you know
to
what?
do it.
I've said it.
You have
I am
to do
gonna
it, honestly.
I'm
My
gonna do it.
32-year-old son's doing it next month. I can't wait. Yeah.
Live in the moment. That's what we're gonna do
Even
it.
even the word skydive's got a good sound.
Isn't it?
Look, imagine when you tell someone, "Oh yeah, I've start skydiving."
Yeah.
What? You
And I
automatic
told the
straight
whole
away.
world, people on the street, I was telling
Your
yeah,
street
do you know
cred goes
what?
up straight away.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as you say that, street cred's gone just like that.
Do you know, way back when I went in my late 20s, I went travelling for a year, had an amazing time, and I was going to do a bungee jump the next day, which I did.
I've done that
and
as well.
I called home, and my dad, and he didn't talk. I said, Johnny, he says, yes, you're not going to do anything stupid, are you? So I didn't tell him about it, and I showed him the video when I came back. But a whole bunch of us, we went to a disco that night, and they played Tom Petty's Free Falling. And it
Oh
was just
my
like,
gosh.
we were all this crew that was going to bungee jump the next day. But
Well, I think when you get to an age as well, you have to do something out of the box. You must.
No, the thing
Challenge
is this.
yourself.
I think people wake up here because people want to do these things, but you're so entwined
Trying
into
to what's
their
what
life.
and fear as well.
No, but people just start to get busy with will, work, more than
Yeah.
kids, family. They get into such a rotten routine. I'll do that next. It just never
Yeah.
comes. It just never happens. And you wake
That's
up one
it.
morning, you think, hold on.
Time has gone by.
Yeah,
You've
time
done
has
it,
gone by.
yes.
You're physically not the place you used to be, and you
That's
missed
it.
the most important time of your life when you had your health.
So
Yeah.
there's something about, people being in autopilot. I can point the finger at myself in that sometimes. It's like how to break that pattern. And there's something about stillness. There's something about stillness.
And you
it's
feel it once you
what
skydive.
What we
That's
experience with these indigenous guys. It's
Yeah.
like there's a place where we know ourselves.
Yes.
And sometimes when years in my early, we okay for?
We've got 1 minute.
Okay.
John, it's all you, John.
Here we go. So in my 20s, had a beer with this guy, Peter Massey, the only beer we ever had together, and he had a speech. Jonathan, what is it you want to do with your life? I said, bloody hell, I don't know, mate. I want to open people's eyes to things I wished my eyes open to, but the image I had was being on the edge of a swimming pool making ripples and daring to stop making ripples so I could see the writing at the bottom of the pool. And in the same way, for all of us, it's like we get still,
Yeah.
we make time to get still, we can see
Definitely.
what's
In the
else to
moment.
do. And it's getting off that hamster wheel, out of autopilot,
Yeah.
and making time to tune in. You know?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
That's news.
Thank you all.
Cool.
Opens its doors for breakfast at 159.
Great show.
Good job, mate.
You're not going yet because I take pictures of you from
Okay.
there. Thank you so much. Sylvia, for
Yeah,
coming
no
in.
worries.
Thank you
No
so
worries.
much as well, Jonathan, for
Pleasure.
coming in as well.
Pleasure.
And I hope you will come back again, especially you for to come in.
Yes. No
And we're
worries.
coming on your podcast show.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
So when you said when your podcast was, so you're in East London.
I'm in East London.
Okay.
I just so when I say podcast, I release one every weekend. So in between during the week, I'll go around see people. I record interviews. I've got interviews constantly, which I then pump out. So yeah, I'll touch base with you at some point. We'll pencil it in, and I'll come down. Give me your number. I'll pencil. Give me your card. Yeah, give me a card, and I'll just write my number down.
Okay, mate. Words up. That's me.
Oh, perfect. Do me a favour. Give me another card. I'll just write my number in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
And let us know when you want to do the podcast. So I
Yeah,
can,
no, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty flexible. Right?
Okay.
So I'm doing what Jonathan said. I live in the moment.
Yeah.
My life has a big reset. I've had the big reset.
FAROUKH.
Double OK.
Ooh.
FAR double OK. So yeah, I'll give you a shout.
Sure.
I'll come down. I'll
Yeah.
set up the lights.
No
boom,
H.
boom, boom. That's it. That's me. Yes.
Right.
And don't forget our t-shirts. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll run you down.
No, I will definitely.
I'll be
There
DMing
go.
you.
I've
Don't forget
got
the
a card. There you
t-shirt.
go. Got a card. Cool. Got a card.
Thank you, my
there.
darling.
It is
Thank
dad's
you.
plural.
It is dad. Yeah,
Oh,
dad.
sorry,
Yeah,
I heard
yeah.
disqualified dad.
Nah, bro, that's when you said
Dads.
dad, I was like, yes, of course it's dad. Yeah, I was listening.
Got it.
But yeah,
Take a picture
I'll
of you.
come down.